Well, Ukraine has been a mainstay of the US State Department's daily news briefing in recent months, and today was no different. Marina Portnaar joins me now and can tell us what was said. Well, Marina, was anything different said at all?
No, we just heard what has become a daily tirade against Russia, spoken by the U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki. She unleashed a new list of accusations regarding this weekend referendums, insisting that the U.S. will not recognize the outcomes. Ms. Psaki said that the methodology used for the voting in the referendum was highly suspect, and also claimed that children and citizens in Moscow and St. Petersburg cast ballots, but she didn't provide any proof for her accusations. As for the facts, we do know that children did accompany their parents who were voting, casting votes in this weekend's referendum. And we do know that citizens in St. Petersburg and Moscow did cast ballots, but it was done in a symbolic gesture in support of the referendum, not as a legitimate votes that were actually counted. Ms. Psaki also claims that a system of carousel voting was used in the referendum, but when asked by a journalist what exactly that means, she had a hard time explaining her own accusation.
Its methodology was also highly suspect, with reports of carousel voting, pre-marked ballots.
What's carousel voting? What is that?
The truth is, as I was reading that, I'm not familiar with that term either. It may be that people weren't checking in. I'll check and see what our team meant specifically by that
voting,
term.
I mean, it's not like they were sitting on horses going around in a circle, right?
I don't think it's a reference to that, Matt.
Once again, Ms. Psaki recycled her criticism about Moscow, accusing the Kremlin of not doing enough to broker peace in Ukraine, also insisting that tens of thousands of Russian soldiers are still positioned all along Ukraine's borders. Now, during this press briefing on Monday, she also warned Russia against using energy as a bargaining chip with Ukraine. Now, Kyiv currently owes Moscow a reported $3.5 billion for gas supplies. A journalist asked Ms. Psaki how she expects for that debt to actually be paid.
We don't think energy should be used, access to energy should be used as a tool, a threatening tool.
They would say that they just want to be paid for products delivered.
I think the back context of the situation on the ground means that this is not just business as usual, obviously.
Broadly speaking, you do think that the Russians have a right to demand to be paid for a product which they are selling.
Again, Matt, I'm happy to pull this up when I get back to my desk, but there's a range of details involved in their agreements in the past, and they've made threats around them before.
Clearly, she's short for answers during this press briefing on Monday. But we also found out, according to Ms. Psaki, that the Obama administration has expressed its disappointment with France over its relations with Russia. Why? Well, because France is planning to proceed with a 1.2 billion euro sale of 2 warships to Russia. This is something that the U.S. administration does not want. They wanted Russia to be isolated with sanctions, but France is proceeding with this sale because A, it's a contract, and B, it brings jobs and revenue to France. Now, what we did not hear from the U.S. State Department spokesperson during this briefing is any mention of Kyiv's ongoing military operation in eastern Ukraine. She didn't acknowledge the death of 2 civilians over the weekend who were allegedly killed when the National Guard raided one of the cities holding a referendum. Ms. Psaki also has not denounced the fact that Kyiv refers to protesters in eastern Ukraine as terrorists. Obviously, all parties involved are saying that they want to see dialogue between the opposition and the appointed government in Ukraine, but the word terrorist is not the kind of dialogue that parties are referring to. And that word terrorist and the fact that Kyiv refers to opposition members as terrorists is something that the U.S. administration has not even addressed or denounced.
Marina, thanks very much indeed for that. Marina Portnaar there.